The Light Beyond the Ruins by Victor Hugo. It is not in wealth or victory that the soul finds its home, but in the quiet act of loving another amid the ruins of a broken world.
There's so many things to be angry about, and my phone won't ring unless I call you out.
The city was tired. Its heart beat with the sound of machines, and its veins were the narrow alleys where forgotten people walked with bowed heads. Once, laughter had danced in those streets, but now it was replaced by the noise of hunger and the silence of indifference. In a small attic above a tailor shop lived Alara, a seamstress of 24 years, with eyes the color of early dawn. She worked for long hours beneath a flickering lamp, mending clothes for those who never learned her name. Her pay was little, yet she carried herself with the dignity of someone who had not allowed poverty to steal her grace. She often whispered to herself while sewing, "If I can make one thread hold when all else falls apart, then perhaps life is not in vain." Each dawn, Alara crossed the same crumbling bridge to deliver her finished work. Beneath it, unseen by most, dwelt Lucien, a painter who had once dreamed of illuminating galleries with his art. Now his canvases leaned against cold stone, and his colors were watered down with rain. He painted on discarded wood, on paper scraps, on anything the world no longer wanted. And perhaps that was why his paintings felt alive. They were born of ruin and still dared to be beautiful. One morning, while the sky wept as if for all mankind, Alara slipped upon the bridge. Her basket spilled open, and the river hungrily claimed her fabrics. Lucien heard the splash and saw her hand gripping the edge, pale and trembling. Without thought, he leapt forward, pulling her back with a strength that came not from muscle, but from desperate compassion. When she caught her breath, she looked at him, soaked, shivering, his eyes full of both fear and wonder. "Thank you," she whispered. Lucien smiled faintly. "No one should fall alone," he said. That was how it began, not with passion, but with gratitude, not with promises, but with a shared silence that spoke of loneliness. Days passed, and she began visiting him under the bridge. She brought him leftover bread, old thread, and sometimes stories from the world above. In return, he painted small pieces for her, a sky full of doves, a street lit with kindness, a city that could still remember how to dream. "You see beauty in things that no longer shine," she told him one evening. "Perhaps because I, too, am something that no longer shines," he replied. But Alara did not agree. She saw in him a light that even misery could not extinguish, a light born of creation, of belief that life still held meaning even when no one applauded it. Their bond deepened like roots beneath the soil. People in the neighborhood began to whisper about the strange painter and the seamstress who smiled as if they shared a secret the world had lost. One night, as the wind rattled the shutters of her attic, Lucien came to her door carrying a painting wrapped in brown paper. "For you," he said. When she unwrapped it, she saw herself, not as the tired worker she knew, but as something radiant, standing before the dawn. Tears blurred her eyes. "You paint not who I am, but who I wish to be." Lucien looked down. "No," he said softly, "I paint what you already are, only the world refuses to see it." From that night, they became each other's strength. When Lucien's landlord demanded rent he could not pay, Alara pawned her only earrings. When Alara grew ill from working too long without rest, Lucien sold his last painting to buy her medicine. They had nothing, yet they were rich beyond measure. Still, the city was cruel. Its rulers spoke of progress while its people starved. The factory owners celebrated, and the workers bent lower beneath the weight of new machines. One by one, Alara's friends left, searching for work in distant towns. She and Lucian remained, stubborn witnesses to a crumbling world. One winter night, when the cold was sharp enough to cut, Lucian lit a fire beneath the bridge and said, "Ilara, do you ever wonder if love can change the world?" "Maybe not the world," she answered, "but it can change a person, and sometimes that is enough to start the world changing." He looked at her as if she had spoken a prayer. Months later, the first signs of spring arrived. The gray city began to soften. Grass crept through cracks in the pavement, and children once again played by the river. Beneath the bridge, Lucian planted wildflower seeds. For color, he said, in a place that has forgotten it. Ilara laughed, her hair catching the sunlight. But the laughter stopped when she saw what he had painted next. It was a large canvas, her face turned toward the light, surrounded by blooming flowers, and the words written beneath. To love is not to possess, but to become the reason another believes again. She turned to him, eyes shining. "Did you paint this for me?" He smiled. "For us. For everyone who forgot what love can build when the world is breaking." They stood there, side by side, while the wind carried the scent of earth and water, and the city, weary and scarred, seemed to pause, as if listening. For a moment, even the ruins breathed. And though no monument bore their names, though no wealth crowned their heads, they had left something behind that time could not destroy. The memory of two souls who dared to love when it was easier to surrender. And in the end, love did not save the world, but it taught the world that it was still worth saving.